It's an honor to be a Sun Devil student athlete right now in this position. I can't tell you how excited this football team was to wake up this morning, get a little running conditioning in. Guys are excited. It's amazing to see the improvement in our leadership. The seniors on this football team, the players underneath, the seniors, the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, they're doing everything they can so that everybody on this football team has a senior year this year. And it's really exciting to see how much we've grown and matured over the last couple of years. And I can tell you that this football team is more excited than they've ever been. Our goals are still right in front of us. And like I said, it's a beautiful day to be a Sun Devil football player. And we're just excited for this week because it's Monday and we're already rolling. We're ready to go.
Mike, how does it affect an offense when you learn a day before the game that you're not going to have one of your biggest playmakers like Kalen?
I mean, what this football team is all about is responding from adversity, and obviously for Kalen specifically, it's sad. You know, it was just sad to not see him out on the field because he is such an imposing football player. But we really didn't flinch. We have guys who stepped up. We have a lot of guys who have game experience, and for him, it was unfortunate that he didn't get to take the field with us. But as a football team, we just kept moving along. And unfortunately, 9 didn't get any carries or touches. But in the next couple of weeks, he'll be back out there, and we'll be going with him again.
Mike, did you find it difficult to get into any kind of passing rhythm in that game with the pressure you were facing?
No, I don't think it was that. I think that the biggest thing, one of the things that we stress is getting first downs. And I think we came up inches, half yards short of third down, and that's what really gets this offense going. And pass rush or not, my job as a quarterback is to get the ball out and not take sacks. And we did put ourselves in some really good situations. Unfortunately, we were one broken tackle away from getting that offense rolling, but it wasn't a rush or press. We didn't feel pressed at all during the game. It was pretty much a 7-point game for about 3 3/4 of the football game. But like I said, we've learned, we're excited, and we can't wait for Saturday.
Mike, in each of the last 3 years, I think since you've been here, in 2012, early season loss to Missouri, 2013, early season loss at Stanford, last year UCLA, each time this team bounced back. Can you give us your insight as to why they were able to do that, and do you see similar qualities on this year's team to bounce back from last week's loss?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I, as a football player, always look forward to is today's meeting with Coach Graham when he stands up here on this podium and he looks at each other's, he looks at his football team's eyes and he says, "We're ready to go. We know what we have to do. That was one game. We're not going to say that game was insignificant because it was, but you can look at the leadership on this football team, the guys that are up front who have been here for 4 or 5 years. You can look at some of the freshmen who you can already see who have matured, like who it means so much to football players. You see tears after games and whatnot, and as a leader, those types of instances know that people love this game. People who are sitting on these chairs, it's not just a game to them. It's what we do, and yeah, it's fun to take the practice field tomorrow because you know what type of energy that guys are going to have. There's a sense of urgency. Obviously, it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, but our sole focus right now is Cal Poly. And it's going to be exciting to see what we do Saturday night.
Mike, right before you threw your first touchdown pass to Cody, you were trying to get the ball snapped because the play clock was running down, and it just seemed like you guys were having trouble communicating. How much was the crowd a factor in that? Yeah,
no. Unfortunately, a couple times in the game, we were fighting against the play clock. I mean, they were right there. It was counting down, and it was a little bit loud, but we have that sweet tempo system that costs a whole bunch of money that I'm pretty sure is louder than that. But it wasn't a huge factor. I mean, it's something that, once again, it's adversity. It's things that we practice for, and it was great practice for the rest of the season because, in the Pac-12, you do play some pretty hostile environments. And I felt that we did a pretty good job of communicating. Obviously, communication is something that you grow on throughout the entire year, but we feel we did a pretty good job for the first game, but obviously there's so much improvement that can be made, and that's what's most exciting is that this team is only going to, took a small step down the mountain, but here we go, start climbing, and it starts right now.
Coach was saying number 8 didn't get the ball enough. Obviously, that's true. So, number one, what was the reason for that during that game, and what do you think needs to be adjusted going forward?
Yeah, well, DJ is one of those players that can make, what do they say? They can make a meal out of a crumb. And obviously there are going to be ways where we can dial up for him to get the ball more, but we did give him some opportunities, but there can always be more with a player like that. And I think the biggest thing is playing fast. We've identified ourselves as a no-huddle offense, and that means getting our feet set, lining up, for those big boys up front, following the ball on every single play, and then the special plays happen. They don't have to be, it doesn't mean DJ's got to go down the field 80 yards and catch passes like that. It could be handoffs, it could be key screens, whatever the case may be. We've got guys like DJ, Gump, Lucien, Jefferson stepping up. Tim White obviously going to be big, and then with Kalen DeMario in the backfield. And all those guys have the capability of taking catches or runs to the house. It's just a matter of being ourselves of an offense, identifying ourselves as a tempo team, and just really doing what we're coached to do.
Mike, given that you were watching a lot of LSU film with Chavis, how tough was that, especially given that Texas A&M had a lot of new personnel, and were they a lot different than maybe what you guys expected, or in what ways were they maybe different?
To be honest with you, no, I think that we didn't see anything that we didn't expect. Obviously, their personnel with their defensive line, they did a really good job getting off on the ball, and that's something that you can't really prepare for that. It's obviously a game one. But we saw the looks. We had answers for everything. But like I said, we were missed tackles away from having huge 20, 30-yard explosive plays. But moving forward, we're obviously a very senior-led team. We got guys that understand that stuff like this happens during the season, but it's about pushing that to the side. That was one game, and now it's about going 1-0 this week. And it's just going to be fun to see the game plan that's put together this week, and everybody on that offensive unit is going to grow. Defense did an incredible job giving us opportunities, but they're going to grow as well, special teams, and we just move on as a football team.
Mike, Todd said you guys had a plan for varying cadence to keep those guys from jumping the snap, but he said it just broke down. Can you address that?
Yeah, I think one of the big emphases in the game one of the big factors of the game that hurt us is playing against the play clock. There's a couple times where we were sitting there with 5 seconds left on the clock, and everybody on the field, even in the stands, they know that we're snapping the ball, and I think that kind of hurt us a little bit. But at the end of the day, we have to execute. That's lining up right. That's me making sure that I have enough time to set the protection so that we can get rolling. And really, at the end of the day, if we break a couple tackles, if we get our alignments correct, we can, that game is a completely different game. Obviously, great. Their defense did a great job swarming to the football and tackling as a unit, but we've learned so much from this game moving forward that you already see guys today and the way we're talking about what we're going to do moving forward, that we know we can play faster, we can, get first downs, we can make sure that we have a better understanding of where the sticks are. And like I said, we've grown so much from Saturday night to right now.
Mike, obviously, when you play a team like Texas A&M, you know exactly where you stand on every facet of the game. And the next two games, obviously, going to take very seriously, but they're probably not going to be as true of a gauge as it was last week. Would it be fair to say that all the lessons learned from that Texas A&M game are really going to show up against teams like USC and UCLA in 3-4 weeks?
My experience in college football, from being a fan, from being a player, is that you're still playing against 18 to 22-year-old kids. So it doesn't really matter who's on the other side of that 50 when you're in pregame. You got to bring your best. And I think that we did show some good things in all three facets of the game Saturday night, but we're still learning. We're still getting stuff corrected. We're moving on to Cal Poly right now, and that I think that you're going to see a football team that is going to be fast, physical, that's going to finish, and that's going to be our MO as the weeks go on. Because as we've seen, teams do get better later. Great teams get better week to week to week, all the way till 11th and 12th week, and that's what's going to be exciting because, we got. I don't even want to mention the other teams that we're playing. It's the only focus right now is Cal Poly. And when those weeks come, I think that you're going to see a football team that's more excited, that's faster, that's stronger, and when that time comes, we'll be ready for those teams.
Mike, when Quishy Brown had that interception early in the third quarter and then the ball was turned right back over, did that seem like a big turning point in the game to you?
Yeah, that was a big turning point. Obviously, it's what, as a quarterback, what we do is control the football, and that's something that I failed to do on that play, and I take full responsibility. Pressure or not, the one identity, as we all know here, is that we have a mindset of owning the football, and I didn't do that on that play, and I let the offense down, especially in a critical situation right there. But I can't say enough about what our defense did that entire game. We felt that there was a chance every second of the game. I kept telling the defense, I kept encouraging them, that offensive line kept encouraging them, just because they know that they kept us in that football game. And you never want to learn from experiences like that, but unfortunately that we did as offense learn that when you have a turnover like that, you have to capitalize on that. And I take full responsibility for that. And once again, if I can say anything about that, it's just the fact that our defense did such an incredible job all game. I just all Saturday night, all Sunday, all Monday, today, I just been encouraging those defensive guys, telling them what a game they had.